Today we will review 6th grade math lesson 3.3. This lesson will cover division of mixed numbers. Here's your I can statement. I can find the quotient of a mixed number or fraction and a mixed number, fraction, or whole number and explain my work to others. Let's review a little bit of today. Vocabulary for today's lesson, we would just want to look at, remember the multiplicative inverse strategy from the last lesson, which means we take the reciprocal. That's really the only vocabulary for today. One way to solve a problem involving the division of a mixed number is to use the multiplicative inverse strategy used to find the quotient of fractions with unlike denominators. In order to use this strategy, each mixed number in the division problem will first have to be inverted to a fraction greater than 1. We call those improper fractions. Let's look here to the right for an example. 4 3/8 divided by 1 3/4. If we look at 4 3/8, that's really saying 4 wholes plus 3/8. Or we can think of it as 32/8 plus 3/8, which equals 35/8. We can also think of the fraction 4 3/8. That's a mixed number. And we can get an improper fraction by saying 4 times 8 is 32 plus 3 is 35. And you always keep the same denominator when you're converting. So that's where they're getting the number here. And then they did the same for 1 3/4. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7. Excuse me. So we're going to use the multiplicative inverse strategy to solve this. We're going to take 35/8 divided by 7/4. We're going to take the reciprocal here, and we're going to do keep, change, flip. We're going to keep the first term, change the sign to multiplication, and take the reciprocal or the reciprocal and make it 4/7. We multiply across, and then we simplify. Vanessa runs 3 3/4 miles in 3.5 minutes. What is Vanessa's average time per mile? Well, we know that when we're talking about time per mile, that's the unit rate. But when we look at this question, which is the whole amount? We know this here will be the total time because we're doing time per mile. So let's write an expression to represent the situation. That's 30.5 divided by 3 3/4. Next, you need to convert each mixed number into an improper fraction. So again, I'm taking 2 times 30 is 60 plus 1 is 61 halves. So I have 61 halves. And then I take 3 times 4 is 12 plus 3 is 15/4. Now, the reciprocal of 15/4 is 4/15. So we're going to do keep, change, and flip. And that's what they have here, 61 halves times 4/15. Then they multiply it across and they get 244 divided by 30. We get 8 2/15. So Vanessa averaged 8 2/15 minutes per mile, because here's the time and that's minutes. These are examples that you will find on your homework, page 83 in your book. Let's try the next one. Sky volunteers at the local animal shelter. Each dog eats a half a pound of food at each meal. If the dog food comes in bags of 20.5 pounds, how many dogs can Sky feed with 1 bag of dog food? So we know here the 20.5, that's my total, okay? And it's asking us how many groups of 1/2 are in 20.5. So we would do 20.5 divided by 1/2. So I need to change this step 1 into an improper fraction. Okay, that's step 1. So 2 times 20 is 40 plus 1 is 41/2 divided by 1/2. Now we need to do keep, flip, change. Keep, flip, change. And then we know that we have cross cancellation here. 2 can go into both of these, so they would be 1. So my answer is 41 dogs she can feed. Now these other ones are basic ones where you can pause this video and work these on your own. Just remember the steps that are identified from above. So we first have to change this one to an improper fraction first. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 5 is, 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5, is 29. 8 divided by 3/4. Then do keep, change, flip. And then I think it's easier to find factors here. So 4 goes into 4 one time, 4 into 8 twice. And that's 29 times 1 is 29. 8 times 2 is 16. So your answer is 4 5/6 for that first one. Okay, let's change this one. 1 2/3 divided by 5/6. I have to change that into an improper fraction. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So I have 5/3 divided by 5/6. Keep, change, flip. We do cross cancellation here. And we can also do that with the 3 and the 6. So that becomes a 2. Okay, let's look at the next one. 1 3/5 divided by 2/3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So I get 8/5 divided by 2/3. Keep, change, flip. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So then I get 4 times 3 over 5 times 1, which is 12 over 5, which is 2 2/5. And the last one, I've got 2 mixed numbers, so I have to change them both into improper fractions. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 7, I get 52/9 divided by 3 times 3 plus 2 is 5/3. Keep, change, flip. 3 goes into both of those. Oops. I get 1/3, and then I get over here, I would get 52 over 15, which is 3 7/15. All right, that's it for our lesson today. This was Module 3, Lesson 3.